Hey everyone, welcome, welcome. I am so excited to have Minnie with us here. She is one of our WiseMind Soul Warrior School students and soon to be graduates. And she is also coming from a corporate background, and she'll talk a little bit more as we go about some of the things that she's working on. So, Miss Minnie, why don't you introduce yourself first? Let us know how you got into yoga and how we connected. Let's talk about that first.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me here, Jenny. I'm really excited and I'm just so happy to be a part of this. Funny story, yoga. Okay. So I live here in Southern California. I'm in Coronado Island, and I got introduced by yoga just through work. When we moved from Texas here to California, I just had a little girl, who's 23 years old right now. And I began working at a yoga studio. I was managing the yoga studio part-time. And I didn't know anything about yoga. I was just really focused on, office management. I mean, that was pretty much my background. And I met with the yoga owners, Linda and 𝗀𝗵𝘃 Marquez. And they actually introduced me to yoga. I began doing yoga with them. And I really enjoyed it. It was just so good. I just remember how relaxed I was. I remember falling asleep during Shavasana, and I was so embarrassed because my manager had to wake me up, who was Linda. But, she was a grace her heart. She was really nice. She just said, you know what? You're just really absorbing, the transformation from, the civilian world to the yoga world,
Right.
So yeah, I was there. I was there for a couple of years, and then I noticed that parents were asking if they had kids yoga, and at that point they didn't. And my daughter was only probably about five years old. And I remember she had asked me what yoga was. What is it that I do? And I said, well, it's a really great, I said, it's like stretching, exercising. It's like taking care of your body. And we went out in the backyard, pulled out a beach towel, and I began showing her some of the asanas, what you do. And, then at that point, her friends were outside. They noticed what we were doing, and they began wanting to enjoy our game per se. And we ended up doing like the alphabets in yoga for kids. And then it just continued, I began being the yoga teacher in our neighborhood. And some of the moms were calling me and asking me, hi, Minnie, I heard that you teach yoga for my daughter. Do you teach adults? And I'm like, no, wait. This was only for my daughter and I, but your daughter is just enjoying the fun. So then, it just continued growing when I ended up asking my manager, Linda, if they were open to possibly having a kids yoga there at the studio. And, of course they said, yes, we'd love to have it. But of course, we needed the certified yoga instructor.
Right.
So I did. I went through a kids yoga workshop, and I got certified, and it was perfect, and I ended up teaching kids yoga at the studio and at some of the elementary schools, here in Coronado where I live.
Right.
So that's
Let me pause you there for a second.
yeah.
And we'll come back to that because I want to talk more about that towards the end when we get into what you're doing now with kids yoga. So share for a minute with the audience how we connected, how you and
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And then I want to talk about when we got on a consultation call, what that was like. If you can share that, just share what it was like getting on a call with me. Like, I'm not even
absolutely.
You share that so that somebody else listening to this or listening to the replay.
Yeah. Oh gosh. Well, okay. So first of all, when you and I connected, Jenny, I just felt like I was talking to one of my old friends that I hadn't talked to in a while. I mean, we just connected. You were just very gracious, very open, and just reading the site. I think I had seen your Facebook posting, I believe, and it really just called to me. Just being a independent, spiritual career woman. I feel like we put so much pressure on ourselves, trying to juggle as much as we can, from being a mother, a wife, a professional, independent, career woman. And, sometimes we feel that, we just go through so much and there's so much pressure and we really don't understand where these things are coming from. And what was really nice is when I met with Jenny, it was just talking to a sister. It was just talking to someone that you could really trust. You could just be so vulnerable and humble with her. And this was the first time we met. And just understanding what the yoga psychology is all about. It's just understanding, to me, yoga psychology with what Jenny brings is learning what's behind it, understanding what the root is, understanding, the reason we all do yoga, understanding the mental side of it, understanding the spiritual side of it, understanding the growth, understanding the life, understanding the breath, understanding how this is really going to be so beneficial for our lives, for the purpose that we are here. And I really enjoyed it. I felt like, the conversation we had when I was sharing with you about my background, about, things that were going on with me, you were able to really dial in, authentically. I just felt like, when you talk to someone, of course, when you talk to someone the very first time, we are reserved, we are guarded. We don't know who we're approaching. But when you're talking to someone that actually understands, has also been there, just shows that empathy. It's a blessing. It's very rewarding. And I feel like when you meet others similar to Jenny and, the other sisters that I call, you really get to build a bond. You get to build, a lifetime relationship, as we're going through this journey together through this yoga psychology. It was really a huge blessing in disguise. It really was. And I always say thank you to Jenny, and, the girls, are great too. And I've really learned so much, through this yoga psychology. It's really been beneficial for me. Also understanding, others that are around me in my life, like my family, my children, my loved ones, and understanding, their characters, and understanding who I am in this life. And this yoga psychology has truly helped me really benefit that growth and relationship with me, as well as, the universe.
Yeah. Well, I love that, Minnie, because, well, first of all, it makes me laugh because remember we talked about this before, like that I was at the beach at the time, and I think it was actually like 8 or 9 o'clock at night my time. And I was at the beach because I'm on the East Coast, y'all, and Minnie's on the West Coast. So it was like a 3-hour time difference. And so I'm literally like at the beach in a hotel having this like consultation with Minnie. And like she said, we had never connected, but it was like two soul sisters connecting.
Yeah.
And it's like such a like blessing. Like you said, it really truly is a blessing for me when I get on the phone like that with somebody and the way that we connected.
Yeah.
And I would say a majority of women that I get on the phone with, that's the case.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because how you said about talking to a friend, that's what a majority of people say. It's like getting on, like us having this conversation right now.
Yeah.
When I interviewed Rachel last week, she's like, yeah, it's pretty much like this, like what we're doing right now. She's like, there's no pressure. It's not a sales call. Jenny's not here to like talk people into stuff. Like she's here to listen and support and bring people into the community that want to be in the community, that are ready for healing and transformation.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty much like just me listening, like a consultation of what are the things you're struggling with, what you want to get out of it for those of you that are wanting to do a teacher training or wanting to do a coaching certification, or if you're doing it for your own healing and transformation. And then how can I help you? Like, where do you see your future self and what's that gap? And that's pretty much it. And if it's not a good fit, like I'm not going to recommend, somebody coming and joining.
Right. Yeah, I remember you said that. Yeah, because you wanted to see if this was something that, would benefit me. And I truly respected your honesty, to that, and that was really helpful because again, it's not a sales pitch call, whatsoever. It's more authentic for your life. It really is. And, I've had, over 20 years in corporate world. So I can understand when it comes down to that helmet that we wear, in the corporate life.
Right.
But this is extremely opposite, and what's really interesting when I went to the retreat, in Asheville in North Carolina, what I really enjoyed is, meeting other women that are coming from, different places, different professions. And I just remember how, I don't know, it's just so, the energy is so, it's so inviting. It's welcoming. It's like, again, it's like going to one of your best friend's house, and you get to just be yourself, and you get to just, just be humble and authentic and, talk about life, talk about, what's happening. And, Jenny, I don't know, Jenny needs several clones. That's what I got to say, because I don't know how she does this. I really don't. And I think she has several clones. I don't know. I'm going to find out. But, it's like she's just, she just works around the clock, exactly. I mean, when we first met, she was at the beach. She was on vacation, but she was just so Jenny, she was just herself. And I think that's so beautiful. When you get to meet someone that is representing, whether it's their company, whether it's their family or, what I saw with Jenny is she has done all of this work, and she is just so authentic to share the experience that she has gone through.